Hello guys, today I'm going to talk about 4 different techniques that some of them are extremely useful in modern and traditional fingerstyle. Those techniques are different, but their main purpose is the same, and their purpose is to give you a sense of rhythm, groove and accent the 2nd and 4th beats, and to give you a feel like there's a bass drum and a snare in your piece. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 3 4 1 2 3, and you can do it in 4 different ways, and I'm gonna go over each and every one of them. The first one I'm gonna talk about is the one that I see the most these days, and it sounds like this. What I'm doing is I'm playing a ghost note with my thumb, and if there's a melody line above it, I just let my other fingers drop and they get the job done. Now, the main advantage of this technique is that it's very easy to do. If you want to get it done, you start by practicing this way. I'm using the outside of my thumb, by the way. So I start this way, and then you add the other fingers. Now, a main con of this technique is that it's extremely not accurate. For instance, if I'm playing a piece that has a melody note on the 2nd and 4th beats, not all the time I can get it as clear as I like. For instance, so the 6th note of this melody is B. 1 2 3 4 5 6, this note. So when I'm playing this way, I can't get it clear because I'm playing other notes at the same time. I can't use this technique and only play one note. This technique gets the job done especially well in musical pieces that don't have many notes on the 2nd and 4th beats, and then on the 2nd and 4th beats you're only gonna play the ghost note. For instance, as you can see, I'm only playing this on the 2nd and 4th beats, and the melody is always either after it or before it. But in the piece that I played earlier, on every 2nd and 4th beats there's a melody note, and in my opinion the melody doesn't come out very well in this technique. So this is the reason I was looking for other techniques, and one of them is the main reason I wanted to shoot this video, and it sounds like this. And this technique is aiming for this sound on the 2nd and 4th beats, which is a very pleasant percussive sound, but at the same time it is aiming to play the melody notes as usual. and it's very difficult to do, because if you want to do this, your hand is basically doing two motions at the same time. The percussive sound, you get it by rotating the thumb, sort of. But at the same time, you want to play a melody as usual. So you're doing this motion and this motion at the same time. And it sounds again like this. And a disadvantage of this technique is that it's very hard to do. It took me a long time to pull it off, and I still need to work on it. I'm gonna give you an exercise so you can play this technique yourself. And it sounds like this. What I'm doing, I'm gonna play 4 melody notes in every bar. We're gonna start off with the index finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm gonna add the ghost note with my thumb on the 2nd and 4th beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. What you're looking for is that the melody line will be consistent in volume. The melody should sound like this, not like this. This technique, it took me a long time to pull it off. What helped me eventually was that I used this motion with my right hand, because the thumb needs to drop like this, and the index finger, for instance, is doing a motion like this. So at the same time, it looks like this. So at the beginning, I'm playing this exercise with my index finger on the 3rd string. Then I'm gonna switch strings. Then on the 1st string. Then I'm gonna use the middle finger. Then my ring finger. Now a combination of 2 or 3 fingers. 3 fingers, etc. Now another way to play a percussive sound on the 2nd and 4th beats is using your wrist like this. As a matter of fact, I've only seen one player that uses this technique. I'm gonna put a link below in the description to a video in which he uses this technique. It sounds like this. Now, as you can hear, this sound is quite different than the one that I used before. So it's an advantage or disadvantage, it depends on you. First, with 50% microphone and 50% pickup. As you can hear, it doesn't sound as good when you play direct. But if you mainly use a microphone like this one, you shouldn't have any problem. The last technique I'm going to talk about is the most traditional way to get a sense of rhythm in your fingerstyle. And this technique was used by all the fingerstyle greats back in the day: Jerry Reed, Chad Atkins, Merle Travis. What they did basically, they played in every bar 4 bass notes. They either used 3 different notes like this, or just 2 notes. And whenever melody they played, they just played over it. For instance, a disadvantage of this technique is that you don't get the percussive sound like in other techniques. You don't get the same feel, you don't get the same groove. But an advantage of this technique is that you get a very accurate sound. You get a very direct and clear sound. What I usually do these days is that I choose different technique for different music. For instance, if I'm gonna play the song I played earlier, I'm gonna combine between this technique and this one. For instance, if there is a note that I want to play and I want it to sound very clear, I'm gonna use the more accurate way. And if I feel that I can get the melody through like this, I'm gonna do it because it's easier and I like the sound of it. For instance, what I did here, I started with this technique, and when I played the B note, I wanted to get it clear, so I used this motion here, again, here. Later on in this piece, there's also this E note that I want to get clear, so I'm going to play it like this.